All right, we are here at the national championship game inside Phillips Arena for the final media day of the college football season. Got to talk to the Alabama players and, of course, the Georgia players as well, and Georgia coach Kirby Smart. One big takeaway from his press conference, he talked about how Alabama is not as unbeatable as they used to be. And Kevin, just elaborate on the context of that. What does he mean by that statement?
Well, it sounds provocative on its face. And the follow-up questions were, does that mean you think Alabama is vulnerable? And he said, no, that's not what I'm saying. What he's saying is that programs like Georgia have worked so hard to raise their game that Alabama's not coming back to the pack, that the rest of the pack is working really hard to try to reach Alabama's level. And here Georgia is 60 minutes away from being on Alabama's level. It really wasn't as much bulletin board material as it sounded on its face.
And I think one thing that you've gathered from all these guys, from both the Georgia side and the Alabama side, is that Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, they know each other. They know what they're up against. So in practicing, that the Alabama offense is going up against their own defense, which mirrors that a lot of the Georgia defense. So they feel like they're very well intact and in tune with what's about to happen in this football game, which is obviously a positive. Now, one guy on that defense, Minkah Fitzpatrick, he did tell us today, told the media that he did go to the hospital after playing Clemson. He had a kidney injury, allegedly didn't give a whole lot of details, but he said he sustained it in the first quarter, went to the hospital afterwards, but he is good to go. Just what do you make of that? Obviously good news that he's ready to roll, but what do you make of that? And I know he was a little guarded about talking.
He was a little unhappy, and he made that clear that news came out. But in so many ways, Lauren, it's a perfect next step in the season. There have been so many injuries on that team. So many guys have had to fight through adversity. So many guys have had to step up and take bigger roles or different roles than they've had in the past. And Rashaan Evans talked about that, and he is such a rock for this team. He said, you guys have no idea, meaning us in the media, and really the public as well. We know about the injuries, but he said, you'll have no idea, you really have no idea how much adversity this team has faced behind the scenes to get here. He said this has been by far the hardest road for Alabama to get to a national championship game during his long and successful career there. So I think they appreciate it a little more maybe than they did in the past. And
when you say appreciate it, a loss, sometimes you say adversity. Obviously things happen for a reason, and certainly nobody wants to take a loss, and that Auburn loss obviously cut pretty hard, but these guys said it sort of helped them realign and readjust their focus and realize complacency can't be a thing. That's part of Nick Saban's process. And one thing that Mike Locksley told me as a coach, he said suddenly when you lose to Auburn and you're no longer in control of your own destiny, it is a scary thought, and we haven't seen Alabama in that position here, you know, for quite some time.
And I think that's why we saw them play angry and motivated and aggressive, more so than at any point all season in that Clemson game. You know, people joked about Alabama finding a way to make itself feel like an underdog, even though it was, according to Vegas, the favorite in that game. But they played like an underdog. They played hungry. I think you're going to see the same thing on Monday night.
All right, sounds great. He's Kevin Scarbinsky. I'm Lauren Sisler. And for all your updates on the Alabama Crimson Tide and the road to the national championship, you can visit us on AL.com.